Bum, bum, bum. Welcome to Interlinked, the official Neo Tokyo podcast powered by Shrapnel.
Brace yourself for impact, crypto gamers, because I am reporting from the Shadow Zone. STX1 just wrapped up. It was an absolute banger. I know I was out there grinding for my Sigma, trying to get my missions complete. Only problem is, I suck. So I got most of my Sigma, full confession, off of dead bodies and extracted my ass out of there. But I'm going to get a second bite at the apple in STX2 dropping right around the corner. And it's going to include new map updates, suppressors, which I'm excited about because I want to live my inner James Bond fantasy, and I will be there grinding for some more Sigma. So if you haven't gotten a chance to get your extraction pack, now might be the time so you too can drop in. Huge shout out to our sponsor, Playa3ull Games. They are inspired by gamers and funded by their community. They have a epic game on the Epic Games Store, a third-person shooter called Nexus. Hop on in there and check that out. They're also currently selling nodes, so if you're interested, check that out at their website, playable.games. That is a 3 instead of a B on Playable. Now strap in for the rest of this episode of Interlinked.
Today, we have the main man, Mr. Paragraf, the founder and CEO of GameSwift, the legend, the person in the flesh. Welcome, Pan. How you doing?
Hello, Ben. Hello, everyone. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for being a part of this. So excited to dive into everything GameSwift today. And as always, the legends, the other main men on the screen today, Mr. Nick, Mr. Jared, gentlemen, legends, citizens. How are you guys?
Doing great, man. Thanks for having us. That's it. Let's do it.
The fun part, yeah, the fun part of being the host to introduce the other hosts and doing it at the same time is that nobody knows when to speak, which is great. Okay, so jumping right in, want to maximize our GameSwift time. You guys have done some really cool things. You started off in a very interesting position in the early bull run of 2020, 2021. You guys had a few obstacles and a few things to overcome, particularly the whole Terra Luna situation. But you guys pivoted, you survived, and now you guys are one of the most exciting up and coming infrastructure projects that's both crypto gaming as well as AI enabled. So I'm super excited to dive into this, but would love to just hear from you. What was that story? Maybe you can bring us through that whole narrative. What's the history? What's the story? Let's build the narrative. Catch us up to real time of what happened since the inception of the project.
All right. So, can I also include a little bit of my personal story?
Please, of course.
Okay. So, before I entered into the crypto space, I was the judge in Poland. I was fully committed for more than 10 years to go and to rule in the court. And during the COVID-19 time, the courts have been closed. So I've got a lot of time to think about myself, what I would like to do next. And in the very meantime, I've invested in crypto. And I think one of my best skills, the soft skills, which I developed during my legal career, is the, let's say, analysis, the research. And this turned out to be the perfect skill set within the crypto. So I've made a couple of successful investments on the early stages, for example, in Atom Cosmos, in Terra Luna for 45 cents before the whole hype started. And since I've discovered a very big potential in the Terra blockchain at the time when there's no hype around it, I've analyzed increasing number of Terra JavaScript downloads. I believe that there will be a huge potential for a fundraising platform on this chain, since a lot of developers will be seeking for funding and marketing services. And this brought me to the foundation of StarTerra, the first gamified launchpad on the Terra blockchain, which turned out to be a perfect market fit. That was not only the first launchpad on the chain, but also the first gamified launchpad in the whole crypto. And I think the concept was so unique that we onboarded a very big community. In our peak, we've been the most engaged community on the whole Terra blockchain. So everything was like according to the plan. I left my judge career. I founded the startup. We made a very successful listing. And of course, in the meantime, the Terra collapsed. That was a big hit for us. That was the moment where we had to find the way to pivot. And I think what saved us, what saved the day, was the fact that in our peak, the peak of the Startera development, we decided to let's say, diversify and build our own gaming studio to develop Star Heroes, which was supposed to be our premier game, fully built on blockchain. But that was, the let's say late year 2021, when there was literally no infrastructure allowing to play those games seamlessly. So we came to the conclusion that we need to build this infrastructure on our own. So while the whole Terra, the whole chain collapsed, it was a pretty natural pivot for us to focus on developing the infrastructure provider. This is now called the GameSwift. And Star Heroes was supposed to our, let's say, like when you have Epic Games Launcher and the Fortnite as their star game, Star Heroes was supposed to be, let's say, equivalent for the Fortnite in our ecosystem. So within the whole bear market, I think our biggest challenge was to find the way to get funding to develop our product and deliver our roadmap. And I remember that was the time when everybody almost says that Web3 gaming is dead. It was the nightmare for me. I remember that it was a very stressful time where we've been seeking for the comeback, because we felt that what we built on Startera and on the Terra blockchain was very exceptional. And our biggest asset was definitely very engaged community. So when developing GameSwift, we felt that we can make a huge comeback, but we need to secure the funding. And I think that what was very unique about GameSwift fundraising is that it is not the story of tier one VCs investing and $100 million valuation. It was the story of our old community who put the trust in us, who invested in us, who bootstrapped our development. And I think that's one of the reasons behind the GameSwift success. We listed at the late stage of the bear market in the August 2023. And it turned out to be a very good listing. I think our community appreciated the fact that almost 0.5% of our total supply, to be exact, 44%, we left into the treasury, which is right now the biggest treasury in the whole Web3 gaming sector, worth more than $450 million. And that's a massive, let's say, utility, not only for GSwift token, which is governing this treasury, but also something to bootstrap the activity around our platform, around our chain. And this treasury is keeping growing by our incubated projects like Star Heroes, who committed 10% of their total supply to the GameSwift. And we are getting very nice traction. It was the story of ups and downs, but I believe that, even when I invest, I'm mostly investing in the people. And I believe that we proved with Startera that we are capable of doing great things, but also to manage crisis, which is not pretty obvious in crypto, as a lot of projects, when they encounter some problems, they are simply disappearing. And I think what made our community stronger is the fact that while 95% of the Terra projects, they didn't make any comeback, we made it. And we came back stronger. I know that this was a very long answer to your question, but I hope that it was pretty clear.
Yeah, no, I love it. And the beauty of the pod is that we get to have long form conversations like this, which are, in my opinion, one of the most valuable things we can do. So I would love to explore some of the additional mechanisms on the chain. And I know you guys are also Omnichain. You had that really fun competition, or let's call it quest, where you went, you had your infinity stones and everybody was going to all the different chains and bridging around and burning tokens. And it was a lot of fun. We all got our infinity stone NFTs and it was really cool. So what's kind of it seems like you're both building and you're a platform others can build on, but you're also omni-chain and you're building with other chains and platforms. And then you have your staking mechanism where it's multi-token staking. So you kind of have like this restaking-esque feel to it where everything that's building on top of GameSwift, that's related to the different staking mechanisms. So maybe you could just explain all of that, and let's do a deep dive so everybody understands.
Okay, so I think one of our competitive advantage is the fact that we are the team not only of businessmen, of developers, but also of the crypto degens and analysts. So we are very good in the process of anticipation. What is the market fit and what are going to be the next trends in the crypto space? So during the bear market, we've been analyzing what could be the most exciting narrative for the crypto in upcoming bull market. And we wanted to adjust our development and to fully commit into this way in order to make this product, let's say, honest for the people, because there are a lot of projects which are like diving into the trends, which are constantly pivoting. We wanted to basically find those trends that we believe that we will develop our product into it. And the first trend was obviously the Web3 gaming. That was not obvious during that time. We believe that Web3 gaming is not dead. This is why we developed the gaming platform, the gaming launcher, and the gaming blockchain. This is like the one-stop shop where you can basically receive everything. The gamer can start from downloading the game from our launcher, like from Epic Games launcher or like from the Steam. And those projects, those games can also list their tokens on our platform, on our blockchain. This is not mandatory. If they want to stick with the launcher, they are well allowed to do so. That's why we like to call ourselves multi-chain, because we believe that from the perspective of the gamers, it doesn't really matter whether the game is based on Arbitrum, Polygon, or on the GameSwift. We would like to have on our platform and on the launcher the whole scope, the whole variety of gaming projects. At the same time, our second, let's say, trend that we discovered and that we planned is the modular and modularity of the blockchains. A lot of us are the early investors in Celestia, so when we came across this concept, we came to the conclusion that this is going to be huge in the upcoming bull market. That's why, like it was the case with Starter, we don't like to make simple product. We want our product to be exceptional. So we wanted to make our blockchain not a simple layer 1 or layer 2 blockchain for gaming, but rather the modular blockchain where every single game can have their own DApp-specific chain supported by the GameSwift infrastructure. And what is very unique about that is that GameSwift stakers are supposed to provide security for all of those DApp-specific chains. In exchange, in return, they are rewarded with the tokens from those projects. So this is creating a very strong utility for the GSwift token, where by staking GSwift, you are rewarded with the variety, with the plethora of different tokens at the same time. Some people like to call it kind of the ETF for the Web3 gaming industry. And the third and the final pillar was the AI, and that was the time where, like, there was no chat GPT, there was no the whole hype like it is nowadays. But we felt that gaming and AI is a very strong combination. The market opportunity that we discovered is that, according to Statista, there is somewhere and those statistics like to be different. So, but basically there is 100 millions of gaming computers worldwide. And those are very powerful devices generating a lot of CPU, GPU, basically the computing power, which is wasted because the gamers, while finishing playing any game, they are just shutting off their computer and they don't take advantage of those amazing hardware. So our concept was to build the first gaming launcher, which is allowing gamers to monetize their GPU, their CPU, for the sake of AI and machine learning. And I think this is a very interesting concept, since there is no other gaming launcher on the market like this. We have Steam, we have Epic Games Launcher, but you can only play games there. So we wanted to develop our app as the app which can be utilized by the gamers, not only for playing the games, but also to monetize their computing power for the sake of AI. And in my opinion, this could be a very good proposal, a very good way for the mainstream adoption, because I believe that a lot of people may download this application, even if they don't want to play those Web3 games. A lot of them, to be honest, they are still at the early stage. I think so far, the whole industry didn't deliver a single AAA gaming experience. We just need a time for that. So in the meantime, having the gaming launcher with the very unique utility of the computing power is something to get this mainstream adoption. So our goal is to basically to build the biggest decentralized bank of the computing power, the network of the gaming computers connected with each other, because our core belief is that with the massive development of AI and machine learning, computing power is going to become the petrol, the fuel of the modern technologies. The entities who are going to control it, they are going to play very powerful position in the upcoming market. And I think that was also a very right prediction. We see what's happening around the AI, around NVIDIA. And we believe that even though maybe we didn't predict this in the first place, but it may turn out that this GS Force AI and our AI launcher might be the most interesting thing during this market cycle.
Yeah, I mean, you absolutely crushed it as far as identifying future narratives. If you had sprinkled in a Bitcoin ordinal, I think you would have had the full narrative, full house.
But there's another one, which is DePIN, because at the end of the day, the network of computers contributing to the same network within it's nothing else but the centralized the infrastructure called DePIN. So that's another strong narrative that I believe is very important.
Yeah, absolutely. We've talked to a few DePIN projects recently. That definitely has the AI portion of the narrative, has a lot of attention. For your pool of compute, the compute that's going to be pooled with GSwift, what's the end customer? Is that going to be sold to large language models? Is it going to be to facilitate other gamers to use that GPU power through cloud gaming? What's sort of the plan for that big pool?
So there is the variety of possibilities how to monetize the computing power. Basically, I believe that there are so many AI applications which are in the desperate need of computing power that you can not only use it for the sake of cloud gaming. That's the obvious path for us, because we have signed more than 100 Web3 games to cooperate with us. And by offering them the cloud gaming, we are basically deleting the barrier of entry to their games, because those gamers will not need the very strong computer. There's only the need of monitor, and they can take advantage of cloud gaming. So that's only one of the pillars of the monetization. But my core belief is that with the massive development of AI and machine learning, there will be the decentralized marketplaces of computing power will play a very important role. Take a look, for example, at Fetch AI. They are the natural partners for us because they are building a marketplace where anyone can basically monetize the computing power for the sake of AI. So that's one of the possibilities. Another one is that we believe that our modular blockchain could be the incentive to build not only for Web3 games but also for AI applications like chats, which are basically seeking for computing power. So if you, for example, take a look, for example, at Chainlink, right? They developed the amazing piece of infrastructure, which is CCIP. It is very helpful in the cross-chain transfers of the assets across different chains. And there are a lot of projects which are, let's say, seeking for access to the CCIP in exchange for and what they are offering in exchange is the airdrop to the Chainlink stakers. And in this way, Chainlink, in my opinion, is building a very strong utility for their token. So another business plan for this computing power bank is to basically offer it to the AI projects, to the AI applications, and to treat this as the incentive to build on our modular blockchain. What we, let's say, require in exchange is not the payment, but to satisfy our stakers in the form of the airdrop. And that's making our community even more engaged.
Yeah, I'd love to dive in to some of the projects that you're onboarding, both to the chain as well as to the Launchpad. I'm sure, just in the last few months, the amount of projects that are coming across your desk are increasing by the day. What are you looking for when you're trying to bring on a project to onboard either to the chain or the Launchpad? What are some of the clear signs of like a winning project?
So we are seeking for the games which are building in the very high quality, but which are not necessarily successful in the user onboarding process, which are not necessarily successful in the community building process. Because I think one of our best assets, which we can offer to the games like them, is our community. I'm gonna give you a very simple example. So our pilot incubation game is Star Heroes, which recently delivered a very successful listing. So we put a lot of our resources to support Star Heroes in the community building process, and it turned out to be a very good path, because when I think about the utility of Web3 in the gaming, a lot of people are saying that the full ownership of the in-game assets and stuff like that. But in my opinion, one of the key advantages of building your game on blockchain is the community funding. Because when you are building the game, you can raise funding across, 5 to 10 VCs, but they are not your end users. They are not going to play your game. While you have the possibility to raise funding across, let's say, hundreds or thousands of gamers who are going to be your fully devoted end users. And I think that we find a very unique way of doing so. So we managed to onboard a lot of GameSwift community members to play Star Heroes, and this basically materialized in a very good number. So in our platform, we experience within the Star Heroes airdrop program 400,000 players registered on the platform who downloaded our launcher, who downloaded Star Heroes. At the same time, we supported the process of the first ever decentralized esports tournament. In my opinion, the centralization of esports is going to be a very strong trend, if I could anticipate the further trends in the Web3 gaming industry. So we came up to Star Heroes with the idea that, guys, in my opinion, you should, since your game is a perfect match for esport, we should organize the first tournament for the esport, which is fully decentralized. What does it mean? It means that rather to get funding from sponsors and create the prize pool from that, we can basically share the equity, which is tokenized in the form of NFT, for everyone, whether he's investor, gamer, or anything else. And whatever we raise within this process is going to constitute the prize pool and the budget for organization of this tournament. And within 1 week, we raised 410 Ethereum tokens worth like $1.5 million, which means that Star Heroes right now, when we check the statistics, is a top 7 game, not only in the Web3. In the Web3, it's a top 1, but it is a top 7 game in the whole esport industry. It is placing it just behind the Counter-Strike and in front of many giants like Rocket League. So I think that's another success story, which is, let's say, which is making that after the Star Heroes success, there are more and more gaming studios seeking for our incubation.
That's fantastic. I think esports. Oh no! I think esports is going to be huge, especially in Web3. I was wondering if you could give a little bit more information about that and what GameSwift's plans are, sort of implement that into your ecosystem and how you're going to build that out. Because to me, that's one of the most interesting things that I've heard in a while. I love esports. I think it's something that Web3 really needs to take advantage of.
So I believe one of the biggest trigger for people and for the gamers to participate in esport tournaments is obviously the network effort of the specific game, but also, to be honest, the prize pool. And if you would like to have the mainstream adoption of Web3 games, we should take advantage of the massive funding in the space. And the market opportunity that we discovered is, since there is a lot of funding, there is a lot of liquidity in the Web3, we should find the way to convert it into the prize pool of those esport tournaments. So we came up with a very simple promise to the people, to the investors, that, guys, you can buy the tokenized piece of the tournament map. And what you can receive in exchange is, first of all, the airdrop of Star Heroes token. And it turned out to be amazing ROI, since anyone purchasing those, let's say, map shards, that's how we call them, receive the airdrop starting from $10,000 to even $50,000, while investing 1 Ethereum for this prize pool. But also, since we are organizing the tournament, we would like to onboard a lot of sponsors, a lot of, let's say, like any esport tournament, normally when you organize esport tournament, the money which are constituting the prize pool comes from the sponsorships, and that's it. And what is left is the revenue of the host of the event. The way how our tournament is different is that the whole is the revenue that is left after all the costs. We'd like to redistribute it back to anyone who purchased those tournament maps. So that's another very interesting promise, that you can finally take the profit from being the shareholder in the esports event. And another amazing factor is that, since this is like hundreds or thousands of different people participating in this fundraising process, there are probably also a lot of them are going also to participate in this tournament. So I'm seeking. We are basically, I believe, maybe the market will verify my thesis, but this could be the way to onboard the first game which can get the mainstream media coverage, the mainstream media attention. Because if I would work in the marketing giants, in the mainstream media, the clickbait title that there is a blockchain, that there's the game which is having like $1.5 million to be won, and this is on blockchain. This is pretty unusual. So our idea basically is the GameSwift to continue, and this is going to be our first, but definitely not the last tournament, because after the successful story of the first one, we would like to proceed with the next titles. So we are inviting all the Web3 games who would like to participate in this process, because we believe that what we are building could get the mainstream media attention.
Yeah, that's outstanding. That's really exciting. And I was wondering if you could talk about projects that want to, maybe use the GSwift token, and then other projects that may want to bring their own token in, and how both of those can integrate into your, into your platform.
Yes. So, like, the way how we structure the cooperation between us and the projects is very flexible. So we don't require any project to, for example, use our token as the native token in their ecosystem. I totally understand that the token is a perfect way of getting funding. So we totally agree that projects should be allowed to do so. The way how the game could be integrated with the GSwift token and with our community is, first of all, the airdrop mechanism. So we are providing the whole support, starting from the infrastructure. For example, Star Heroes is fully built on our SDKs, on our mechanisms, which are basically facilitating the multiplayer experience. At the same time, this game could be launched on our launcher, on the marketplace, and on our blockchain. But in any of those elements, you can resign. You can basically decide that, for example, you only want to take advantage of our SDKs, and we are okay with that. And depending on the scope, depending on the range, we are expecting that you will satisfy our community. And it turns out also to the case study of Star Heroes proves that this is a very good decision, because we analyzed the statistics from the Star Heroes airdrop, and it turned out that most of our community, they decided to basically keep the token, to wait for the game. A lot of them converted to the way that they downloaded the game. So I think in this way we are also addressing the possible problem of the project thinking that this could be too much inflation for them, leading to the price dump. So yeah, that's the whole scope, and we are very, very flexible within this process.
So I want to talk about, because you've had a really, really strong ability to pick great investments early. And I just kind of wanted to scope out a little bit and get your thoughts on, like, where are we in the greater crypto gaming macro? Like, where are we in the life cycle of the industry? What's really going on? And then, what's your take on all that?
So when I think about the market cycle of the Web3 gaming, I believe that what I am a little bit afraid of is, for example, that many Web3 games, they didn't take their lesson from the previous market cycle, because the previous market cycle was pretty obvious. There was the play to earn model, which is not sustainable. And I believe that a lot of games, when they've been pitching to us, because we are also investing in some of those projects, they like to say that we are different than that we are not relying on, let's say, infinite token inflation and stuff like this. But then when I see at those games going to the market in the current market cycle, I think what they do is that they are just delaying the token inflation. There are a lot of mechanics for that. There are, for example, constant airdrops. There is the leaderboard system, referral system, but the final result are the endless airdrops. So my prediction is that there will be the point where they will be sell the news, when the inflation from those tokens are going to lead those projects to dump, and games will be seeking for the sustainable way of building their tokenomics. And in my opinion, there's only one way of building sustainable token economic around the game, which is based on the simple rule: if you want to earn something, you need to bring something to the table. And that's why the idea of decentralized esports tournaments, of the direct duels between projects, could be the next catalyst and the next trend within the Web3 gaming. Don't get me wrong, I believe that the airdrop is a very powerful mechanism. There's not a single Web2 game which is able to onboard 1 million gamers within only 1 week. And Mavia, for example, did that. Star Heroes made 500,000 also in a very short time period, while being on PC, which is much harder and bigger barrier of entry than on mobile. But you cannot rely on this endlessly. So I believe while it is good to introduce airdrop at the early stage of the game, then the game should pivot into the sustainable rule, which is focusing on a very simple rule. If you want to earn something, you need to bring something to the table. For example, if you want to compete with the others, you can bet that, yes, I'm going to kill you or I'm going to shoot your spaceship, but I'm betting $10 on me. That's why we are also cooperating with the partners like Olympics, which is working on the engine, allowing to basically send you the invitation to the duel that I'm going to win with you in this game, and I'm betting $5 on this. Or, for example, I would like to contribute $5 to the big tournament of the prize pool, and there are 10,000 gamers participating in this tournament. And by this, there is a $50,000 prize pool for everybody participating. So by betting only $5, you can get exposure for $50,000. In my opinion, this is the future trend, and that's why I'm mostly bullish on the esports side of the Web3 gaming.
And then as a founder and somebody who, I mean, you have probably very few people have as much access as you do to other founders and learning about projects. Do you also invest as a founder, like just, making your own investments and playing the crypto markets as well? And then how do you balance, like, you need to be focusing on your project and building, and obviously you guys are doing a wonderful job with that. I've seen the results of that, and you made my back's very happy. Thank you very much for that. But also, you gotta like keep your wits about you and really, keep your eyes wide open and be looking and making smart decisions. So how do you balance that? And like, what would you say the percentage of your time goes from one to the other, and how does that work?
So I believe that we have a very strong team of analysts within the GameSwift. So we are also spending some of our resources to pick the right projects. But we are trying to, while investing in games, we are also we are doing so when we see that there is the potential for us to add value to the game. This is why, for example, we invested a lot in Star Heroes and many other games. And while doing so, we put a lot of our resources, a lot of our know-how to support their marketing efforts. I don't know what is the percentage of our workforce, but what we developed is a specialized department to incubate those projects and to add value. That's why we are capable of developing a lot of infrastructure solutions like GS Force AI and many others. While I believe that we came to the point where a lot of our know-how could be very easily and it doesn't take too much time for us to utilize this within the games. We built our processes. We structurize our know-how, which is making this process much more effective. And so I don't know if I satisfied your answer, but yeah, investment is definitely a very important part, because we need to analyze the industry. We need to know what are the future trends. At the end of the day, it is helping us to add bigger value to the incubated projects.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, because it would seem as if you guys are looking at it from a builder perspective and how do we add value to what you guys are doing. Therefore, you can kind of think through, okay, we see that it's here. We know we can help them get there. So therefore we can have a bit of a hand in helping them, grow and build, because we have the platform to be able to do that. So that seems that would be a very powerful edge and competitive advantage when it comes to making investments there. So, a little bit of an additional incentive for you wannabe builders out there to actually get to building, because it'll help you with your investments too. And I bet being a businessman helps you make better investments, and being an investor helps you be a better businessman as well.
Yes, and Star Heroes was for us the first pilot program, the first case study. We wanted to check if we can add this value to the games, because at the end of the day, I can declare something here, but then the market should verify this. So we've been very curious how much value we can add to the Web3 games. That's why seeing the success of Star Heroes is making us a very strong conviction that we can replicate this process with the next game.
Yeah, and one thing I wanted to dive into, obviously, you guys were very, very adept at picking the narratives of the next cycle. What are you seeing as sort of the new meta on the investment side? From my perspective, last year or last cycle, it was a lot of SAFT deals, these sort of like token deals. This year, I've identified more node projects that are raising through nodes. I've sort of identified that as maybe one of the new metas for this cycle. Perhaps you've identified something else, or some opinions around like all the nodes that have been popping up. What are you seeing? What are you thinking?
So I've also discovered the node narrative. I maybe I'm a little. I need to admit that I'm a little bit skeptical about this, because I'm experiencing more and more single game projects offering those nodes, while I am not necessarily convinced that this model should be picked with only single games. For example, I think this model could work with the whole ecosystems like GameSwift or with some others, but not necessarily with a single game oriented project. So I don't want to fight. I'm just like providing my constructive opinion. I believe that we need to see whether those nodes are going to provide a good ROI or not. Especially that at the end of the day, that's another product. I think while offering your game, you should bear it in mind that whatever asset you're introducing, that's another, let's say, asset that you need to sell. So when you've got the token, when you got the NFTs, and you also have nodes on that, you need to focus on delivering value, and you need to bear in mind the price action of every single element within your ecosystem. So the more products you inflate, I think it is harder to sustain. When I think about the funding in the crypto space, like I said before, I think it is still not enoughly appreciated, the community funding side of the investment. I think, for example, what you are doing, guys, in Neo Tokyo should be more and more promoted, as I believe that this is the biggest advantage of the blockchain technology in the gaming. Because I'm fully aware that we can pick a couple of examples from Kickstarter, from the Web2 games, allowing, for example, you to invest in the process of building the game. But this is not necessarily the investment. When you are distributing, transferring your money on Kickstarter, you are not receiving instantly something in the form of NFT or token, which you can then sell on the secondary market. You're rather putting your trust and enthusiasm into the development of the specific product. And if the game is onboarding like hundreds or thousands of gamers in the process of funding, in my opinion, this could be much more effective than relying on the big tier one VCs, because gamers community is very, let's say, is very hard to cooperate with, and they are not necessarily the fan of the big behemoths of big organizations. So I am not, for example, fans of the projects, of the gaming projects starting with the $1 billion valuation and the variety of tier one VCs. I believe that if you would like to build a very dedicated community, it's worth considering the community funding.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's a super strong model to be able to have, your investors, be stakeholders, be gamers. Not to mention, I'm interested to see just the dynamic of what happens when you have a bunch of VCs that have really large bags into token unlocks, and what happens when you have a bunch of smaller players who are hitting these token unlocks. I think potentially the way that those tokens end up hitting the market are going to be a little different. It's a little too soon to really see. There haven't been quite enough use cases.
Because what's the difference? The difference is, and I perfectly see this on the example of Star Heroes. Star Heroes is in 75% community funded. There are no tier 1 VCs there. And when I observe the wallets activity, because a lot of those investors have their unlock on the TV, they mostly keep it for the upcoming game premiere because they are the gamers. So they would like to take advantage of this token. They want to spend it within the game. So it's not only about the funding, but also it is more effective way of getting funding, because these are your end users who could spend this token within the game. And that's the difference with the tier 1 boosters.
So we are approaching here close to the hour. I know we've been kind of jumping and talking about a lot of different things. Are there any particular things about GameSwift or your ecosystem, or even just thoughts generally about crypto gaming as a whole, or AI, or anything that's on your mind that you think are important that we have not yet talked about?
Yeah, so I think we've already delivered a lot within our platform, within our launcher, and we communicated this very vocally. But in upcoming weeks and months, we would like to put a big focus for GS Force AI. We would like to share the idea of building the biggest decentralized bank of computing power of the gaming computers connected with each other. So if I can highlight the single point of our development that I am most enthusiastic about, is definitely this part. I believe that gaming and AI is a perfect match, but you need to find a good use case for this. You also need to be afraid of many projects like falling with the trends. I experience a lot of projects announcing that they are entering AI, but this is not natural for them. But it doesn't mean that this combination, the AI and gaming, is not good. It just for the investors to be afraid, to verify. And I believe that what we are building is very exceptional. So if you would like to contribute within our ecosystem, I really encourage you to keep the track of our social medias, to download our game launcher, because in upcoming time we are going to announce really big partnerships, really big upgrades to this. It is starting soon, and yes, this is something that I would everyone to be aware of, because in December last year, for the first time, we as the first project in the world, we announced the gaming launcher allowing to monetize your computing power for the sake of AI. In the meantime, we put a lot of our resources to promote Star Heroes, but now we are totally back to the GS Force AI, and we would like to make a very big impact, because when I think about the mainstream adoption of Web3 gaming, the one way is definitely the esport, but another thing is the computing power and AI. At the end of the day, our application, our launcher, could be downloaded by someone who has nothing to do with crypto, by someone who just has the powerful hardware and who is willing to monetize this. So that's why if anyone is let's say enthusiastic about Web3 gaming, should definitely follow the development of GS Force AI, because I think this could be another source of the mainstream adoption.
100%.
And Pan, I would be remiss if, as a fellow lawyer, I didn't talk about, or I at least had some insight into sort of your mindset as a lawyer. And I know a lot of your, your experience before you started all this. Number one, how has that helped you? And number two, just a completely unrelated question: where do you see the regulation going both in the EU, and I don't know if you have any insight on the United States as far as crypto. But so that two-part question, I'd be remiss if I didn't ask about it.
Okay, so you're also my fellow, so I'm really glad to have you here. So yes, I think to be a lawyer requires you to have a couple of very helpful soft skills, which are very helpful in crypto and in this business. One of them is the ability to research things, but also to analyze them. And I think that helped me to make a very big, a very quick onboarding into the crypto space. Because at the end of the day, I firstly encountered the cryptocurrencies in the year 2020. That was the first time when I purchased the Bitcoin, Ethereum, and then the other altcoins. And within 6 months, I started my first project. So I believe that this is something which I learned during my legal studies, which is to analyze things very quickly. When I think about the regulations, I don't I need to admit that this is something which is still not clear for us as the builders. So there is not a lot of certainty. I think many big gaming studios from the traditional game dev, they are afraid of entering the crypto, mostly due to the fact that there is no legal clarity around crypto. And I'm having some expectations around MiCA within the European Union, because it is strict. There is no doubt about it. But at least this is these are the rules that are clear for you and which you could apply into your crypto products. So even though MiCA is very strict on crypto, I think it is providing the clarity for any projects building their project within European Union. And I am waiting for similar regulations also in the United States, because I believe that a lot of projects from US, at least those who I am coming across, they are seeking for the offshore jurisdiction. And to be honest, I totally understand this. I would never probably register my company in the USA when you have no clarity on that. So I think the regulation clarity is a big missing element right now, but having things like MiCA is also putting the hope in me that this could be subject to change.
Yeah, I think that's a great answer. And, the MiCA, I think, is definitely a great step forward. Like you said, it's definitely strict, but at the same time, you at least know where the walls and the floors and the ceilings are. Here in the US, we're sort of swimming around in an ocean wondering what's it going to be, when's it going to happen, and that's very frustrating. But hopefully we'll get some clarity, and hopefully not through the SEC and its arm of coming after people. Hopefully it's actually Congress that sits down and does something great. But I appreciate the answer, and I'm interested to see that MiCA, since it's gone into effect, it hasn't been quite a year yet, but we'll kind of see how that evolves, and that's really interesting. But again, thank you for that answer, and hopefully the other lawyers, if there are any out here listening, go build your project. Right, that's the answer that I heard.
and I would like to add something on top of what you said, is that I believe that when I think about politicians, they are usually their average age is somewhere between 50 to 70. So that's a different generation. That's the generation of people who are not necessarily enthusiastic about modern technologies. So maybe it's good that they don't regulate crypto. At the end of the day, maybe it's better to wait for the new generation, which, as we can see, thanks to the adoption of Bitcoin ETFs, is much more enthusiastic about the crypto. And I think that the time is working for our advantage.
Absolutely love it. Well, usually we have the Hogshead legal heaven for only a portion of the show, but now we have double that much with two lawyers on the pod today. So definitely excited to to maybe even have you back when we get some more clarity on the legal side, and catch up on all the progress GameSwift has made, all the progress the world has made from the legal side as well. But yeah, I know we're butting up against time here, so just want to thank you very much, Pan, for coming on and chatting with us here. Really do appreciate everything that you're doing in the space, everything that you're building. You're building something that is enabling other builders to do their thing. So that helps everybody when we have Web3 builders that get to flourish and have an ecosystem to build with. So thank you for everything that you're doing, and thank you for sharing time with us on the pod.
Thank you, guys. So really happy to talk to you, and I'm hoping that this will be not my last time here.
Anytime, my friend.
Definitely.
Anytime.
Yeah, it was a pleasure. Thank you, Pan.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Awesome. Well, citizens, I'm joined here today by Mr. Nick, Crypto Atheist, Mr. Jared, Hogsheadcheese, Pan from GameSwift. Appreciate all of you guys for being on the pod today, and thank you all the citizens and meatbags who are listening and have stuck with us until the end of the show. You guys rock. We appreciate you, and we'll see you on the next episode of Interlinked.